Let's now look at something called this reference. Earlier we looked at this invocation statement, which basically allowed an object to invoke one of its overloaded constructors. That is, from within one constructor to access an overloaded constructor, an object uses this invocation statement. This reference is also related to an object, and let's see what it is. We know that to access variables or methods of an object, we use its object reference followed by dot operator, which is in turn followed by the variable or method name. But let's say an object wants to access its own members, that is not members of some other object, but its own members. In that case, it can use this reference. And for that, you would use the keyword this followed by dot operator, which is then followed by the variable or method name. So this reference is basically an object reference, but it is just that it's a reference to the current object itself. Note that though we have this reference, an object can also access its members directly. So the next question would be, why then use this reference when you can access the members directly? The real use of this reference is when we want to access instance variables that are hidden by local variables, which are defined in a method or constructor. Let's look at an example to see what it means for a variable to be hidden or shadowed, which is just another term for hidden. In this example, there are two instance variables, id and name. There is also the method updateProfile, which has two parameters, new id and name. So one of the instance variables and one of the method parameters share the same variable name called name. Due to this, we say that within the method updateProfile, the method parameter name is hiding or shadowing the instance variable called name. And any reference to the variable name from within the updateProfile method is actually a reference to the method parameter and not the instance variable. So if you want to access the instance variable name from within the updateProfile method, you would have to use this reference. That is, you would say this.name as shown here. However, if instance variable is not hidden by any local variable, then the instance variable can be accessed directly, as we can see here in this particular statement where id field is being assigned new id. Just note that this reference can also be used in constructors. Also, as mentioned earlier, this reference can be used to access methods in the current object. However, since there is no hiding of instance methods, like in the case of instance variables, you don't have to do that. You can access the methods directly. So normally you would use this reference when you are accessing only instance variables which are hidden. Finally, note that this reference cannot be used in a static method. If you recall our discussion on static methods, we said that they are class methods, and so they don't deal with object state. That is, they cannot access instance variables or instance methods defined in the same class. So this means that you cannot also use this reference within static methods, as this reference is used to access instance variables or instance methods. Let's actually take a look at this in the code. Okay, here we are in the basics demo class. Let's first define an instance variable here. Let's just call it as id and let it have the default 0. And let's just try to access it from the static method which we wrote earlier. In fact, all our methods here in this class are static. So let's define a variable I, and let's use this reference to access the instance variable. So this should give us a compilation error. So I'm in the basics directory. Let's just compile it. So it says it gives a compilation error and it says non-static variable, which means it's an instance variable. This, since this is an variable here, it cannot be referenced from a static context. Here context implies it's a static method. Static context implies static method. So it says that non-instance variable this cannot be referenced from a static context. Okay, so we cannot access it. And if you want, we can also remove this and we get a similar, because instance variables can be accessed directly, but since it's a static method, it still gives us a compilation error. And it says non-static variable, which means instance variable id. So in this case, it's an id. It cannot be referenced from a static context. Okay. So we cannot access any state from static methods. Okay, so that's about it. And next we'll be doing a demo, and there we will use this reference. So we will be using this reference in the demo. Okay, so that's about it, and thank you.